Hi everybody, Jessica here with day 29 of my 100-day meditation journey. And you may notice I'm not feeling quite as tippy-top today. Had a little trouble sleeping, wasn't feeling good, and was having some interesting back pain. And so for my meditation this morning, I was sitting up and I was really kind of struggling physically because my back was giving me such a hard time. So I decided to lay with a pillow supporting my back, and actually didn't fall asleep, which was cool, but it was something that my body needed, and I wasn't going to force myself into a seated posture and sit there in pain for an hour when I didn't have to. So, um, and it just made me think about our bodies and how miraculous they are and how often we ignore them. Not just in the choices that we make, we're not necessarily making good decisions all the time, but just in day to day everything. Your body is constantly communicating with you, and we often ignore it until it becomes a big old punch in the face, or in the back, or in the knees, or with a cold, or and the more that we can be present with our bodies and respond to their needs, and allow what our bodies are trying to do, the better off that we're going to be. Because typically, when we feel a symptom or a pain, an ache or a pain, the first time we notice it, because often it's happening and we're so busy in the world that we don't even notice it. So it's got to escalate. And by the time that we notice it, our first instinct is to fix it, to stop it. So, we'll take back pain for example. We take an ibuprofen or start to heat it or ice it or whatever we want to do, or stretch out and go get a massage, go to the chiropractor, whatever. But rarely do we ever just allow the body to be the way it is. To not fix it right away, to let it do what it needs to do, to welcome the sensation, and allow it to move through us. We immediately just want to fix it and get rid of it rather than be with it. And I know that sounds weird and that sounds hard, but your body is very smart. It knows what it's doing. Its natural state is health and wellness, and it's always seeking to get back to that level. And so if something's out of whack, if there's a germ or a virus or an ache or pain or something, the body wants to correct it. And the greatest example is if I cut my arm right now, my body immediately starts to go to work on that. And actually, a lot of studies are showing that our body actually responds before the cut, in like microseconds before. The body's already kind of aware that that is happening and starts to send all the white blood cells and whatever is needed down there to start to heal it. And if I have this cut and I leave it alone, the body will fix it. It will heal it. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to know how that works. I don't have to think in my mind to make it happen. It just naturally does it on its own. And so, with anything that's going on in our body, the body is seeking to help us. It's not against us. We often blame our body and think it's against us and talk about aging and how it's inevitable that my body's going to fall apart. But your body actually wants to be well, and it's seeking to get there. And when it's not, it's typically because we're getting in the way. We're trying to fix it, we're ignoring it, we're covering up the symptoms with medications and drugs. And we're not allowing the body to just be and do what it needs to be, to give it the space. I haven't actually been sick, like had a full blown cold, flu, anything like that for over 4 years now, I think, since I started this work. And that's because whenever I start to feel icky, whenever I first notice it, I stop everything and I just allow my body to be sick to do what it wants to do. One time I thought that was the end of my streak. That was it. I was going to get sick because it felt like a brick coming at me. So I got in my PJs, I sat on the couch, I got the big heavy blanket on me, I turned on the TV, and I just allowed myself to feel sick and icky. It's like, all right, I'm fine. I'm just gonna let it happen. Here it comes. And by the afternoon, it was completely gone. Completely gone. No symptoms at all. And that's typically when I've had that experience before, that's a 2-week process for me of a slowly going downhill. And then you have a week where you're just friggin' miserable. And then you have a few days where you're kind of coming back to life. And this was hours of just starting to feel sick, and then it just went away. So listening to our bodies, paying attention, noticing the subtleties, and allowing space for the body to do what it needs to do will benefit us in the end and allow us to heal much quicker. It's the same with emotions. Is paying attention when we have that subtle feeling of, oh wow, I'm kind of angry all of a sudden and I don't know why. You don't have to know why. Just allow yourself to feel that anger. Same with sadness, frustration. Frustration's a huge one, but it's usually masking sadness or anger or both. So pay attention, start to be curious, and just allow. Don't judge, don't try to fix, don't try to figure out why it's there. Just let it be what it needs to be. And it will do what it needs to do, and then it will move on. The reason a lot of things stick around all the time is we grab onto them. Is I'm sick and I have to fight it, and I'm going to do all these things to get rid of it. But really, you're just putting your energy into the illness. And the universe says, well, you're wanting to fight an illness, so here you go. Here's an illness. If you just say, I'm feeling what I'm feeling, and I don't need to label it. I don't need to call it a cold. I don't need to call it a flu. And just say, my face feels like it might explode at any second, or I got this cough, and I don't need any explanations. I don't need to let my brain do anything. My body can do that. So, where are those spaces where you're ignoring your body or not giving it the space that it needs to do? I know people who take Tums like it's candy. Obviously something's not good in this area, and it needs some attention and to be allowed to feel instead of continually masked by antacids. There's other people who just always have ibuprofen with them and are taking it several times a day, and it's just hiding some issue, some thing that is ready to heal, that's ready to move out, but we don't like pain, so we don't want to allow it. So how can you allow it? And I'm not saying change everything that you do right now. I'm saying the next time you get a headache, sit for a minute and just look at the headache like a scientist. Like, how would you explain the headache to an alien who doesn't have a head or has never experienced a headache? How would you explain that? And just be curious, and don't run for the ibuprofen right away. If you're experiencing cold symptoms, don't take the Dayquil or NyQuil right away. Just see if you can give it some space and allow it to move through you rather than trying to fix and get rid of it all the time. So I hope you can hear me. I've got not enough sleep voice. I do have my microphone on, so hopefully it picked it up. So everybody take care, and I'm on the road today, so I will see you tomorrow from the big city of Chicago. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.